Hi guys, so if you're looking to build a six-figure sports empire, now that could be six figures per year or even six figures per month, you have 1,000,000% come to the right place. And it doesn't matter where you are in your sporting business career. Maybe you're looking to start or even expand your physical sports coaching empire, whether that's a tennis coach, a basketball coach, football coach, etc. Or maybe you're looking to create a physical sports brand around the sport that you love. So if you answered yes, yes, and yes, you have 1,000,000,000% come to the right place, because in a moment I'm going to show you step by step how I went from coaching one student per month to an international global sports business. Now you might be thinking, well, who are you, Ray, to be saying this? So very quickly, let me explain who I am and what this I don't want to say video course is all about, because it's not a video course per se. It's basically me showing you what I did step by step. So very quickly, who am I? So my name's Ray Newland. I'm originally from Liverpool, England. I'm just a working class lad whose dream it was to become a professional goalkeeper in soccer, or football to choose the better word. I achieved my dream when I was 18 years of age. I was professional for 10 years. But in 1998, a freak training ground injury finished my career overnight. I went from living my dream job, playing in front of thousands of screaming supporters week in, week out, to literally broke in debt and living in rented accommodation, which wasn't fun. Then I went to, from, like I say, a job that I dreamed about as a boy, to basically packing blood for a living in a warehouse, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. So I was literally in the gutter. But I say, long story short, thankfully, I still had this chip inside of me that wanted the best for myself and my family. And in 1998, I started Just for Keepers, J4K for short, which went on to become the leading and largest goalkeeping academy in the world. At our peak, we're in 37 countries across 5 continents. And like I've already mentioned, we were coaching 10,000 goalkeeper students every single month all over the world. And then from there, I went on to create our own J4K goalkeeping glove, goalkeeping brands. And again, at the time of saying this, it's a global brand. We've sold our products well across 50 plus countries now, and that's growing every single, not year, every single month, guys. Okay, so that's a bit about myself. Okay, so it's safe to say that I have walked my talk. I've had a lot more downs than ups, guys. Okay, yeah, and obviously I help people create their own sports coaching business or own physical sports brands, or both, a combination of both. There's a lot of sports entrepreneurs now doing what I did, combining having a physical sports coaching business and also a physical sports brand. And basically, I keep saying the word video course, guys, because that's the only thing I can think of. But this is not a video course. In a moment, I'm going to show you in literally 10 parts how I literally went from a struggling goalkeeping coach with one student, to say, and obviously took that around the world. I'm going to literally take you through that step by step. So it doesn't matter where you are in your coaching journey, whether you're just getting going and you've no idea what to do, this will help. Or maybe you've already started your sports coaching business, or or physical sports brand, and you're plateaued, you're stuck at a certain ceiling. This will explain and help you how to explode and go through that ceiling and take this to the next levels. And also as well, please make sure that you join my free online, it's called Sports Business Mastery. It's completely free of charge. It's an online community where you get to speak to myself and fellow sports entrepreneurs all over the world, who are all helping each other in our individual sports businesses, helping each other to get to 6 figures a year, or a lot of us now getting to 6 figures and beyond per month. So if that's something that you're interested in, it's completely free of charge. Click the link below, and I look forward to, hopefully personally, to get to know you and helping you to go to 6 figures and build your sport, your 6-figure sports business empire. Put my teeth back in there. Okay, hope that helps, guys. All the best, and I hope you enjoy this free course, even though it's not a course. Okay, yeah, it's a step back. Basically, it's a step-by-step guide how you can build a 6-figure sports empire. I look forward to seeing you on the inside. I want to start this with a moment that every sports person eventually faces: the day the game stops. For me, that day came at 28 years old. I lost my career as a professional goalkeeper, and it felt like a nightmare. Football was the only identity I had known since I was a child. One day I was performing in front of thousands of fans every week. The next I was working a dead-end job, packing blood into boxes in a warehouse at 3 a.m. I was broke, buried in debt, living in rented accommodation. I was not just starting again, I was starting from the gutter. And when you are in that place, something dangerous happens. You start believing your best days are behind you. You start thinking your value ended when your playing career ended. You start telling yourself you are just another person now. That is one of the biggest lies that sport creates. Sport gives you an identity, but it rarely teaches you how to rebuild that identity when the game stops. Here is what I want you to understand right now, and this is the most important thing I will say in this entire video. Your knowledge did not retire when your career ended. Your experience did not disappear. The lessons you learned in competition, the discipline, the standards, the psychology, the detail, those are not just memories. They are assets, and assets can be turned into income. I realized that even in that warehouse at 3 a.m. with cold hands and a racing mind, my playing career was over, but my knowledge was not. I could either let that knowledge die with my playing career, or I could turn it into a new mission. That decision changed everything. Here is the first lesson I want you to take from my story. Before you think about products, platforms, or pricing, you need to reset your identity. Stop seeing yourself as a former athlete or a local coach. Start seeing yourself as someone who carries a blueprint. You carry methods, standards, values, and a level of detail that most people in the world never learn. That blueprint is the foundation of your business. The second lesson is this: mission comes before money. My business eventually reached 37 countries because my first priority was genuinely helping people, not chasing a paycheck. People in sport have a built-in radar for authenticity. Parents, athletes and coaches can sense instantly when someone is watching the clock, but they also sense when you care. They sense when your mission is real. And here is the truth about money in sports business. If you build purely around chasing income, you will always feel stressed and you will always attract the wrong people. But if you build around transformation, genuinely helping people improve, progress, and believe in themselves, money becomes the natural byproduct. That is not motivational talk. That is exactly what happened to me. One student on a muddy field in Liverpool became a business in 37 countries. Not because I was the most qualified coach, not because I had the most money, not because I had the best facilities, but because I genuinely cared about the person in front of me and I committed to their transformation completely. Vision gets you through the gutter. Service turns your vision into results. Results build reputation. Reputation becomes a brand, and a brand scales beyond your location. That is how every global sports business begins. Not in a boardroom, not with a big budget, with one person, one mission, and a decision to turn your knowledge into something bigger than yourself. Your playing days may be behind you, but your best work, the work that helps others, builds something lasting and gives you true freedom, that is still ahead of you. And I'm going to show you exactly how to build it. I want to tell you exactly where Just for Keepers began. Not in a high performance centre, not in a luxury facility, not with a marketing team or a waiting list or a brand new website. It began on a cold, muddy Sunday morning at the Bill Shankly playing field in Liverpool. I had one student, a muddy patch of grass, and one football. That is how a global brand starts. One student, one customer, one person who believed in me enough to show up. And I want you to really hear this, because it is the thing that stops most talented people from ever starting. They are waiting for perfect conditions. They want the elite venue, the branded kit, the perfect logo, the professional website, and the confidence of 10,000 followers before they deliver their first session or sell their first product. But sport business does not reward perfection. Sport business rewards momentum. The conditions are never perfect. They never will be. Success is born in the mud, on cracked public courts, in cold gyms, and at quiet local pitches where nobody is watching. The small start is not a disadvantage, it is the training ground. That first Sunday morning, I made the decision that set the tone for everything that followed. I treated that one student like a world-class athlete preparing for a championship. I planned properly. I coached properly. I cared properly. I brought energy. I brought standards. I brought belief. Not because there were scouts watching, not because there was a crowd, but because that one student deserved my absolute best, and because I understood something fundamental. If I could not provide life-changing value to one person, I had no right trying to reach thousands. I call this the seed strategy. Your first student or customer is not just a client. They are your proof. They are your reputation in human form. They are the beginning of your word of mouth engine. When you create a transformation so powerful that the athlete improves fast, feels confident, and enjoys the process, they become your marketing. Their parents talk, their friends talk, their coaches notice, people ask questions. That is how growth happens in sport. It's spread through trust, not through ads, not through followers, through trust. The mistake most new sports business owners make is trying to build the 10th floor before laying the foundation. They run ads before they can deliver results. They chase followers before they can create outcomes. They focus on branding before they have proof. The correct order is simple. First deliver outcomes, then collect proof, then build demand, then build systems, then scale. So if you are sitting there right now with one student, one customer, or even zero, you are not behind. You are exactly where you should be, because that is where you build the standards that everything else grows from. Your job right now is to find your version of that muddy field. Find your first student or customer. Deliver excellence like your entire reputation depends on it, because it does. And while you are doing that, start documenting what works. Write notes after every session. Record your structure. Track what you taught. Track what changed. Track what got results. Because here is something most sports entrepreneurs never realize until it's too late. The path from one student to a global brand is built on repeatable excellence. The muddy field teaches you the standards. Your notes become the system becomes the brand becomes the business. Every coach I have ever helped who went on to build something real, every single one of them started exactly where you might be right now, small, uncertain, with more questions than answers, but they started. And starting is everything. Do not wait for perfect. Start with one. Give that one person everything you have got. That is the seed. And from the right seed, with the right standards and the right mission, anything is possible. I know because I have lived it. Within a few years of that first session on a muddy field in Liverpool, I became the largest specialised goalkeeper coach in the northwest of England. At my peak, I had over 350 students attending sessions every single week. Now, here is what surprises most people when I tell them that. I did it with zero formal business experience and no official goalkeeper coaching qualifications. I left school with nothing on paper, no badges, no certificates, no governing body approval. And I was told constantly by the so-called authorities that I could not do it. I was told I was not certified. I was told I was not approved. I was told that without specific badges from specific governing bodies, I had no right to grow. I got rejected by clubs, schools and associations. People looked down on me, people dismissed me, but I understood something they had completely forgotten. In sport, results are your real qualification. Parents do not care about a piece of paper on a wall if their child is not improving. Athletes do not care about letters after your name if their confidence is dropping. Teams do not care about certificates if you cannot build performance. The only thing that builds real authority in sport is outcomes. When an athlete goes from bench to starter, that is your resume. When a goalkeeper becomes calmer under pressure, that is your resume. When a child starts genuinely believing in themselves, that is your resume. When their parents start recommending you without being asked, that is your resume. That is how I scaled from one student to 350 per week. I did not out-certificate other coaches, I out-delivered them. And this is critically important for you to understand right now, especially if you are sitting there thinking you are not qualified enough, experienced enough, or credible enough to start. Your mind will look for excuses. The biggest excuse is qualifications. You will tell yourself you need one more course, one more certificate, one more approval before you are ready. But the market does not reward potential. The market rewards proof. So you build proof by doing the work. You start with one student or one customer. You get results. You capture the story. You show the transformation. You build what I call your results resume. Here is the tactical shift that changed everything for me. I stopped selling myself as a coach. I started positioning myself as someone who produces results. That single shift changed how people saw me. That is how you become the obvious choice in your sport. That is how people talk about you without being asked. That is how you gain respect without waiting for permission from anyone. I also want to say something directly to anyone watching this who feels like the system is against them. I know what it feels like to be rejected by the people who are supposed to support you. I know what it feels like to be told you do not belong. I know what it feels like to watch less committed people get opportunities simply because they have the right badge or the right connection. It is frustrating, it is demoralizing, and it is completely unfair. But here is the truth I learned from 25 years of building in sport. The system does not build your legacy, your results do. Every goalkeeper I helped become more confident. Every parent who recommended me to another parent. Every coach who called me asking how I built what I built. Those were not given to me by a governing body. I earned every single one through delivery, standards, and genuine care. Do not wait for permission from committees, teams, governing bodies to become successful. Start proving your worth through outcomes. Keep stacking results. Keep stacking proof. Keep stacking stories, because when your students and customers win, you win. Their success becomes your marketing. Their progress becomes your brand. And that is how one student turns into a movement. As my reputation grew, something happened that completely changed the direction of my business. I started getting calls from other goalkeeper coaches, not from parents looking for sessions, not from athletes wanting training, from experienced coaches, good at their craft, calling from around the country asking me one question: how did you build what you built? These were coaches who already knew how to coach. They did not need technical advice, they needed business advice. They were tired of being the best coach in their town but the most broke person in their circle. Exhausted from working every evening, every weekend, every holiday camp, and still living month to month. They did not want to spend the next 20 years trading their body and their time for money. What they saw in my business was not just coaching. They saw something organised. They saw standards. They saw marketing. They saw momentum. They saw machine. And that is when I realised the next critical evolution in going from one student to a global brand. You have to stop thinking like a coach and start thinking like a CEO. A coach focuses on sessions. A CEO focuses on systems. A coach focuses on the next training block. A CEO focuses on acquisition, delivery, retention, and scale. A coach builds skills in athletes. A CEO builds a repeatable model that creates results in athletes, even when the CEO is not personally delivering every session. And here is the most important point I want you to take from this video. If you only get paid when you are physically on a court or a pitch, you do not have a business, you have a high energy job. A real business is something that can run with or without you being present every hour. That does not mean you stop caring. That means you build structure around your caring so it can reach more people than your two hands ever could alone. So I started learning the business of sport. I did not have money for an MBA. I had no formal business training. I studied through real life. I learned through mistakes. I learned through testing. I learned through doing. I learned what to say on the first phone call with a parent. I learned how to structure sessions so people felt progress fast. I learned how to run camps. I learned how to retain students long term. I learned how to organise bookings. I learned how to build trust in a local area and then beyond it. And then I did something that most coaches never do. I documented everything, because documentation is how you scale beyond yourself. And this is where your evolution becomes genuinely powerful. The moment your method is documented, it becomes teachable. The moment it becomes teachable, it becomes transferable. The moment it becomes transferable, it becomes scalable. That is how you go from one coach to many coaches, from one location to many locations, from a local reputation to a global brand. Your job is to become the architect, not just the builder. You build something others can follow. You build a model that creates outcomes consistently. You build a system that protects your standards even when you are not in the room. When you do this properly, the industry seeks you out. Other coaches want to join what you have built. Parents want in, athletes want in, because they are not buying your time anymore. They are buying the system and the culture you created. I want you to think about your own business right now and ask yourself one honest question. If I could not personally show up tomorrow, would my business survive? If the answer is no, that is not a criticism. That is your starting point. That is where the work begins. Because the shift from coach to CEO is not about working less. It is about building something that works beyond you, something that carries your standards, your values, and your mission, even when you are not physically in the room. That is where real scale begins. That is the CEO shift. People always assume that taking a business global requires technology, social media, viral content, or a big marketing budget. My first international expansion had none of those things. It happened in the most normal way possible. A coach wanted to join what I was building. So I got on a train to Scotland and trained him. After that, a coach from Canada called. This time I made him travel to me. And in that moment, something important clicked. If I was going to reach multiple countries, I could not be everywhere at once. I needed a way to transfer my expertise, my standards, my values, and my culture into other coaches. Coaches who were thousands of miles away from Liverpool. And here is the thing that makes this story relevant to you right now. This was the early 2000s. There was no Zoom. There was no school. There was no modern community platform. There was no quick way to clone a business digitally. So I built the system the old way. I created a 250-page paper binder. That binder became the Bible of the entire organization. It covered everything. How to handle the first phone call with a parent. How to structure a session for maximum progress. How to run camps. How to price properly. How to recruit students. How to market locally with a small budget. How to maintain standards. How to deal with problems and complaints. How to build trust. How to build a reputation. Then I would spend hours on the phone with coaches in the USA, across Europe, and even on islands like Curacao, teaching every section page by page, helping them implement it, helping them build websites, helping them apply it to their local market. That binder reached 37 countries. Not a viral video, not a fancy app, not a big marketing budget. A documented system built on clear standards and real results. And here is the lesson I want you to take from this. Systems travel better than people. When your business is locked inside your head, it dies with your time. When your business is documented, it can spread. Documentation turns your personal experience into an asset that other people can use in other cities, other countries, other time zones while you sleep. Most sports entrepreneurs believe they need high-tech tools to scale. They do not. They need clarity. They need structure. They need a repeatable method that produces results consistently. Today, the tools make this dramatically easier. You can put your entire system into an online course. You can run a community on school. You can update your resources instantly. You can reach coaches on the other side of the world without getting on a train or spending hours on an international phone call. But the principle does not change. To scale beyond your location, you must take your knowledge out of your head and put it into a structure that others can execute. You must define the standards. You must define the process. You must define the delivery. You must define the culture. That is the global blueprint. It is not magic. It is not luck. It is not connections or timing or being in the right place at the right time. It is documentation, leadership, and consistency. If your business depends on you being present to explain everything every time, your business will always stay small. But if you build a system that is clear enough for someone else to follow, that system can reach the world while you focus on building the next level. I want you to think about what you know right now, the sessions you run, the results you create, the methods that work, the standards you hold. All of that can be documented. All of that can be taught. All of that can travel. You do not need a train to Scotland or a 250-page paper binder anymore. You just need the decision to start. In 2012, my world changed overnight. I broke my leg and was forced off the field for 12 weeks. At first, you think it is just an injury. You think you will heal, get back on the pitch, and life carries on. But very quickly, something bigger hits you. Something that changes how you see everything. You see the truth about the coaching industry. My income was completely tied to my physical presence. If I could not coach, I could not earn, not a penny. Everything I had built depended on me physically showing up. And the moment I could not show up, the money stopped. That is a dangerous model because injuries happen, illness happens, family emergencies happen, life happens. And if your entire income depends on your body being on a training field, everything you have worked for can disappear overnight. Then something even worse happened. While I was unable to work, coaches I trusted tried to take advantage. Money went missing, problems started. Some coaches tried to pull parents and students away to start rival schools. It was betrayal. It was painful. But it was also one of the most important lessons of my entire career. It showed me that a real sports business cannot rely only on the coach's health or on trusting everyone around you to always do the right thing. I needed leverage. I needed protection. I needed assets. And that is where everything changed. I decided to stop only selling my time and start building branded assets. And the first and most important asset I built was J4K goalkeeper gloves. Now I want to be very clear about why I started J4K gloves, because this matters. I did not start them because I wanted quick money. Money was not my motivation. I started J4K gloves for the exact same reason I started coaching in the first place. I wanted to genuinely help the goalkeeping community. When I was coaching thousands of goalkeepers every week, I kept seeing the same thing. Parents coming to me saying, "Ray, I want my child to have good gloves, but I cannot keep paying these prices." Goalkeepers turning up in poor quality gloves because families simply could not justify the cost of big brand equipment every few months. And that bothered me deeply because I know what confidence means for a goalkeeper. If a goalkeeper does not trust their gloves, they hesitate. If they hesitate, they make mistakes. If they make mistakes, their confidence drops. And once confidence drops, performance drops with it. So I asked myself a simple question. What if I could create a glove that was genuinely high quality, trusted by serious goalkeepers, but still affordable for normal families? That was the mission. Not profit, not ego. A solution to a real problem I was seeing every single week with my own eyes. And here's what most people do not understand yet about building a product brand. You do not win by copying what already exists. You win by listening deeper than everyone else. Because I was coaching thousands of goalkeepers, I had direct access to the real world test lab every single week. I knew what keepers loved. I knew what wore out first. I knew what felt good in training but failed in matches. I knew what parents complained about. That knowledge built a product people genuinely trusted, not through hype, through service, standards and real results. Now here is the bigger lesson for you. You already have that same access. Whatever sport you're in, you know things that the big brands and the big businesses do not know. You hear the real feedback, you see the real problems, you understand what people actually need. That knowledge is not just coaching intelligence. That knowledge is product intelligence. That knowledge is brand intelligence. Assets change everything. A product can sell while you sleep. It can serve customers in different time zones. It can grow without your body being the limiting factor. Coaching builds trust. Trust builds demand. Demand supports assets. Assets create the freedom that trading time for money never will. Build something that keeps earning even when life throws a punch. At a certain point in building Just for Keepers, I made a decision that felt completely wrong. I gave away my own primary coaching territory in Liverpool. I stopped coaching students altogether. I walked away from the local sessions, the familiar faces, the parents I had known for years. And I focused 100% of my energy on building the global team and the brand. I moved from coaching players to coaching coaches. And I want to be honest with you, that decision was one of the hardest things I ever did in business because we get emotionally attached to our local students. We feel like nobody will deliver it as well as we do. We feel like the quality will drop the moment we step back. We feel like we are letting people down. But here is the truth that most sports entrepreneurs never confront. That feeling, the feeling that everything depends on you being there personally, is exactly what keeps businesses small. If the business requires you to be present for everything, it cannot scale. You can be the greatest coach in your sport and still be trapped in a business limited entirely by your diary. So I made the pivot, and what happened next surprised even me. When I stepped back from day-to-day coaching and focused on building the brand, I had to learn things I had never done before. I had no manufacturing experience. I did not know how to produce products at scale. I did not know who to trust in the supply chain. I made mistakes. I lost money. I got conned early on by several companies who promised everything and delivered nothing. It was humbling. It felt like being a complete beginner again after years of being the expert. But the same mindset that carried me through sport carried me through those setbacks. Keep moving, keep learning, keep adapting, keep going. And then something happened that I genuinely did not predict when I started building J4K gloves. The gloves and the coaching business started feeding each other. Here is how it worked. The coaching business built trust first. Parents and goalkeepers were seeing me every week. They knew my standards. They had seen the results. They trusted my judgment completely. So when J4K gloves appeared, they did not see just another glove brand. They thought, if Ray backs these, they must be right. Coaching created demand for the product. Then the gloves did something even bigger. Every goalkeeper wearing J4K gloves became a moving conversation starter. Kids talk, parents ask questions, coaches notice. Someone makes a great save, and another keeper says, "What gloves are those?" Suddenly the product is creating conversations that lead back to the coaching sessions, the camps, the schools, and the brand story. The product created visibility for the coaching. Then it stacked again. More coaching students meant more goalkeepers in J4K gloves. More gloves in the wild meant more people hearing about the coaching. More coaches joining the system meant more locations, and each new location created new coaching demand and new glove customers. That is the flywheel. Coaching creates trust. Trust creates product sales. Product visibility creates new coaching leads. New leads create more trust, and the cycle keeps spinning faster and faster. This is one of the biggest lessons in building a real sports empire. You do not build one revenue stream and hope for the best. You build an ecosystem where each part strengthens every other part. And the only way I could see that ecosystem clearly enough to build it was by stepping back from the day-to-day coaching and into leadership. Your job as a sports entrepreneur is not to be the best person on the pitch forever. Your job is to build something that is bigger than your presence on the pitch. Stop being the star player. Start being the manager who builds the team that wins the league. That is the leadership pivot. And that is where everything changes. One of the biggest reasons Just for Keepers became a global brand was something that had nothing to do with coaching, technique, product quality, or marketing budget. It was how I treated the people I partnered with. In sport, there is often a culture of gatekeeping and ego. People want control. People want credit. People want to squeeze every penny out of every relationship. That mindset might create short-term wins, but it creates long-term failure every single time. I did the opposite. When I partnered with coaches around the world to run camps, clinics, and coaching schools, I focused on one thing above everything else: fairness. We split things 50-50. No complicated structures, no hidden clauses, no power games, just a straightforward fair partnership where both sides won equally. And I want to explain why that was not just the right thing to do morally. It was the smartest business decision I ever made. When your partners win, they work harder. When your partners feel respected, they stay loyal. When your partners feel genuine ownership, they promote your brand with real pride. Not because they have to, but because they want to. They feel like it is theirs too. Because in a real sense, it is. Think about what that means in practice. Every coach who felt fairly treated became an ambassador, not a paid promoter, not someone following a script. A genuine ambassador who told other coaches, other parents, and other athletes about what we had built together. Their pride in the partnership became our most powerful marketing tool. And as their local schools grew, my global brand grew with them. That is not a coincidence. That is the compounding power of fairness. Now, here is the important lesson for you, especially if you are thinking about building a coaching network, a franchise model, a licensing program, or any kind of partnership structure. Do not treat coaches like staff. Treat them like partners. There is a fundamental difference between those two things that most business owners never understand until it is too late. Staff do what they are told. Partners do what they believe in. Staff watch the clock. Partners build the vision. Staff leave when someone offers them more money. Partners stay because they feel ownership and pride in what they are building together. When you structure your partnerships properly, protecting your brand standards and your mission, while building deals where everyone genuinely wins, you create something that grows faster than any advertising campaign ever could. Because loyalty is the highest currency in sports business, and you earn loyalty by being consistently fair, consistently honest, and consistently committed to the success of the people who choose to represent your brand. I also want to say something about the mathematics of fairness, because I think this is something sports entrepreneurs get wrong all the time. Most people think keeping more for themselves means earning more. It does not. A 50-50 split of a massive growing pie is always worth more than 100% of a small stagnant one. When your partners are motivated, invested, and proud, the pie grows faster than you could ever grow it alone. Their energy, their local knowledge, their relationships, and their hard work multiply your reach in ways that no marketing budget can replicate. I reached 37 countries, not because I was the best businessman in sport. I reached 37 countries because I found good people, treated them fairly, and gave them a genuine reason to build something great alongside me. That is it. That is the whole secret. Find good people. Treat them better than they expect. Build together. Your partners become your growth engine. Your fairness becomes your competitive advantage. And your reputation for doing right by people becomes the thing that attracts the next great partner, and the one after that. Sport is built on relationships. Never forget that. In 2020, everything stopped. Not just for me, for the entire world. But for sports businesses, the impact was immediate and devastating. Facilities closed overnight. Sessions were cancelled. Camps disappeared. The physical world of sport simply shut down, and it shut down fast. For Just for Keepers, that meant going from nearly 150 coaches operating globally to under 10 almost overnight. Years of building, years of relationships, years of standards and systems and growth. Gone, almost instantly. And I want to be honest with you about how that felt, because I think it is important you hear this from someone who has actually lived it, rather than someone theorizing from the outside. It was terrifying, not just financially, emotionally, because when you have poured 20 years of your life into building something and you watch it contract that fast, you question everything. You wonder if it was all worth it. You wonder if you will ever get it back. But then something else happened. Something that changed my perspective completely. While the coaching income collapsed, the online side of the business kept running, product sales kept coming in, digital assets kept generating income, the website kept selling, orders kept going out, customers in different countries kept being served, my family stayed protected, the business stayed alive, and in that moment I understood something more clearly than I had ever understood it before. If your business only exists in the physical world, it is permanently vulnerable to forces completely outside your control. You can be the best coach in your area. You can have a full diary. You can have an outstanding reputation built over decades. But if a government decision, a facility closure, an injury, or a global event stops your sessions, your income can drop to zero immediately. That is the harsh reality of a business built only on grass and courts and sports halls. But here is the other side of that truth. A business built on digital assets and physical products is a completely different animal. It does not need a facility to stay open. It does not need your body to be present to keep earning. It does not need perfect conditions to keep serving customers. It keeps running, whatever happens. COVID taught me two lessons that I now consider absolutely essential for every sports entrepreneur. The first lesson was focus. After the world reopened, I refused to rebuild in dozens of countries simultaneously. I focused on the markets where I could operate most efficiently and create the most impact. The UK, Ireland, USA, and Canada. I stopped trying to be everywhere and started building deeper in the places that mattered most. Depth beats breadth every single time when you are rebuilding. The second lesson was resilience through digital assets and physical products. I made the decision after COVID that I want to share with you directly because I think it is one of the most important business decisions any sports entrepreneur can make. I decided to build the brand into something that could survive anything. If the physical world shuts again, the business still runs, the community still grows, the systems still operate, customers can still be served, income can still come in, and I cannot recommend this strongly enough to every single person watching this. Whether you are a coach, an ex-athlete, a sports enthusiast, or someone just starting out, you must build digital assets alongside whatever physical business you run. It could be a school community, it could be an online course, it could be a subscription, it could be a physical product line that sells online, something you own, something you control, something that does not depend on a building or a pitch or a stupid government decision to keep earning. Because if something like COVID happens again and none of us knows what the future holds, you will still have income, you will still have stability, you will still have a business that lives beyond a building. Build something that cannot be padlocked. That is the goal. And that is exactly what I'm going to help you do. If you have followed my journey across these videos, you will have seen a clear pattern emerge. From one student on a muddy field in Liverpool to a business spanning 37 countries. From packing blood in a warehouse at 3 a.m. to building a brand that has helped more goalkeepers achieve their dreams than any similar organisation in history. I am the only goalkeeper coach in history, by the way, to take a goalkeeper coaching concept around the glove. Not bad from a working class lad from a council estate in Liverpool, hey. And none of it came from elite qualifications, fancy connections or a big starting budget. It came from determination, from standards, from genuine care for the people in front of me, and from the courage to keep evolving every single time life threw something at me that was completely out of my control. Injury, betrayal for people I helped and trusted, a global pandemic. Every one of those things could have ended everything. Every one of those things made me rebuild and come back stronger. The evolution looked like this. One student became proof. Proof became reputation. Reputation became demand. Demand became a system. The system became a team. The team became a network. The network became a global brand. And the global brand became assets that created something I could never have imagined standing on that muddy field in Liverpool all those years ago. Freedom. When I look back at the past 25 years, I genuinely feel blessed. I have met thousands of wonderful people, parents doing everything they can for their children, young goalkeepers chasing their dreams with everything they have, coaches building businesses they are proud of. Those human connections are the part people do not always see from the outside. Yes, it is business, but it is also people, and it is purpose, and I am proud of what we built. Genuinely proud. I am proud to be the only goalkeeper coach in history to take a goalkeeping concept around the globe. I am proud that keepers who trained in our system went on to play professionally, internationally, and represent their country at the 2022 World Cup. Sometimes I honestly pinch myself that I have lived this life, provided for my family and helped so many people at the same time. But if you ask me, or any of my J4K coaches around the world, what the single best thing is about running your own sports business, every single one of us would give you the same answer. Living life on your own terms, doing what you want, when you want, building your days around your family, your values and your goals, instead of building your life around somebody else's schedule and somebody else's rules. That is why I have turned down many offers to coach at professional football clubs, not because I do not respect those opportunities, but because I am not willing to have someone tell me where to be, what time to arrive, and when I am allowed to take my family on holiday. That freedom is priceless, and it is available to you. I want to make something very clear before I finish, because this is where most people underestimate what is possible for them. You can make more than a full-time living working part-time hours in the sport you love. It does not matter if you were a professional, an amateur, someone who played sport for fun, or even just a passionate fan. If you have knowledge that helps people improve, avoid mistakes, stay motivated or feel part of something, people will pay you for that knowledge. And if you do not want to build a coaching empire or a physical product brand, you can build a community around your sport. Teach what you know, run challenges, answer questions, create a place where people feel supported and focused and connected. My wish now is simple. I want to help you build what I built. Yes, so you can earn money, but so you can build impact, provide for your family, and live life completely on your own terms. I have shown you the journey. I have shown you the mistakes. I have shown you exactly what is possible when you back yourself and refuse to quit. Now it is your turn. Let me hold you by the hand and help you step by step building your sports empire and live life on your terms